Well, it is never too early to get a plan together for your retirement, but the process can seem overwhelming when you don't even know where to begin. That's the boat I'm in. But here today to help us get ready for retirement is Colin Evans from Evans Financial. So what do we need for our retirement checklist? You brought me a nice, really thick packet, Colin.
It is, and you know, it's when we created this, we actually got this together just to put this out for the viewers today, and it went live late yesterday, so I was kind of doing a time crunch to get that out, and so we could give a little bit of a takeaway. But over the years, we've created a top 10 list of some of the most really pertinent things that we've seen over the years. I've been in this industry almost 25 years, and these are kind of our top 10 of what you need to know as you're kind of getting ready to make that leap into the retirement time frame. That first one, let's hit this list hard and fast. Assess your retirement income and needs. This is a time to go review. What do we save? What do we put back? What are we having? Let's go and maybe possibly even visit with an advisor and just get a quick idea of where we're at if you're not keeping a good running gauge. Number two, this is evaluate those savings and those investments. This is it where we need to put an optic on what do we do with our IRAs, our 401ks, any of our savings accounts. How are we looking, and start getting some deep, detailed information of, can we prep for retirement? What is it? Is it time to maximize these retirement contributions? I really highly suggest for anybody, if they've got an employer that's matching for like a 401k, make sure that we are matching that. When you hit the age of 50, you're allowed to add catch-up contributions into your IRA. We highly suggest that. If we're heading into it, we need to make sure we're putting enough funds back that this is the time, because you're not going to have any income coming in from that job anymore.
Right.
Let's maximize that. So let's develop a withdrawal strategy. One of the biggest things that we do in our firm is actually creating a true income plan. And this is really what puts people's minds at ease when they're going into retirement time, because it's really the unknown. And we actually have a true income plan written down in place. It goes, okay, I know no matter what occurs in my portfolio or inflation or taxes, that I have a set amount and I've got a set income plan in place that's going to work, in the ups and in the downs. And we're just kind of putting that in place, and it gives you really what we like to say, this allows you to sleep at night.
Peace of mind.
It is. It's a big thing, because that is a gigantic worry, and it's the number one fear in retirement is running out of money. So pay off debt as number 5. You don't want to go into retirement and be really subject to, especially the creditors from a credit card. The interest rates are high. One of the big things that we do see quite often, though, as soon as people get into retirement is, do I need to pay off my house? There are pros and cons to that, and that's something that you really want to sit down and evaluate, because it might not always be the best thing. We have seen people go right into retirement and say, you know what, I need to go ahead and take this chunk out of my 401k and pay off my house. And unbeknownst to them, that also bumped them up into a little bit higher tax bracket, and they didn't really need to do that because they already had the assets there to take care of it. That's not something they really needed to do.
Gotcha.
So let's keep on going. Number 6, got to plan for health care costs. A good rule of thumb is to take your last working year's salary and multiply it times 3.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that, if you're making $60,000 a year, just to keep math simple, so you need to plan for about $180,000 in healthcare costs. Now, this is over the retirement time frame. This is, it could be a span of 20 or 30 years, but that is something that you really need to plan for, because you might be leaning into, okay, I've got a little bit with the Medicaid in here, and we're no longer under the employer healthcare plan. So it's just really paying attention to that and making sure that you've got those funds in reserve in the event that something happens. Planning for long-term care is number 7. That's also a big one, because for one, nobody wants to have to go into a home, and it's not necessarily strictly saying you have to go into a home, but what if you have to have somebody come in to your own home to help you out, and or help a loved one out? That's something you really want to make sure that you're taking care of. Review estate planning documents. If it's time to go visit with an estate attorney, it's time to look at a will, maybe a trust needs to be in place. Those types of things can prevent, in the event that something were to happen to you, as nature, of course, is going to take its course, but the way that you want those assets evaluated and how you want those kind of passed off to your family and your loved ones, and make sure that's taken care of, and double check beneficiaries. This is a big one, because a lot of times we recommend to have at least 2 beneficiaries on your financial documents, so in the event that something happens to the first one, you've got backups that are already listed there. Decide on your retirement lifestyle. What do you want to do?
Are you going to travel, or are you going to chill at home?
That's exactly right, because there's two different radical expenses on there. You know, one costs a lot and the other one doesn't cost so much. So I'm going to travel. That's mine. That's just what I want to do. So make sure that you're doing that. A phenomenal one at number 9 is just, run a kind of a trial, run a mock retirement. Let's take our budget that we put together and see how we can live on this. Are we going to? We can find, hey, we need a little bit more here, a little less here. What are, do we really evaluate our bills enough, and are we paying attention to this? Because it's a good time to really do this. A lot of companies and products out there in the marketplace run trials before they're released. You're going into the biggest time of your life of retirement and no longer in the working years. This is a wonderful thing to actually try and do for a good 3 to 6 month period. That'll give you a great gauge. Oh, and we dropped this retirement guide for viewers if we want to be able to give that out today. So if you want to show them.
This is the guide, guys. You're going to have to.
The guide that we dropped today, all the stuff that we actually give a little bit further detail, our viewers can download right now at retirementatrisk.com. It's 100% free. You just have to enter your email because it does get emailed right into your inbox. But retirementatrisk.com, it's just your name and your email address, and it'll give you our guide that's kind of goes through all this top 10 list, but it gives a little bit further in-depth information that any of the viewers at home would like to take. They can print it out, put it on their phone, put it on their smart device or their tablet, and just hopefully have some backup information and hopefully some good nuggets that they can use for their own personal lives.
So this one's for me, is what you're saying.
It is. You can actually keep
okay.
that. You can actually keep that.
Well, thank you, Colin. Thank you for sharing all this information and putting it together in one guide for us, because there's a lot that you need to keep up with. So thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.